So NFL draft buzz is starting to pick up with the combine taking place. The most important time in a football prospect's life instead. A man stuck soaring to heights unimaginable with a few unbelievable moments or a freefall rivaling 1929. But you have to remember draft selection means nothing in the end but the first contract and expectations. The best draft pick in NFL history is obvious. Tom Brady. 6th round string bean turning into the greatest quarterback of his generation. If anyone else tells you otherwise, they're liars and you shouldn't trust them. But what about the worst draft pick in NFL history? Your first answer is probably Jamarcus Russell. Could throw 60 yards on one knee, threw his career away even further than that. So bad that he changed the way rookies were paid. But he at least had a few poor campaigns for Oakland. If you're going on impact to the team, someone like Demetrius Underwood could be in play. Untreated mental illness was the culprit there, so that's an unfair label to put on him. That and he still played a few seasons in the NFL. No, my pick for the worst is a relatively recent one. Titans fans know him all too well. Isaiah Wilson. And it's not even close. Before we get started, let me take a moment to thank Raycon for sponsoring this video. With the everyday earbuds, life tends to get a little less hectic. I can sit back, relax, and listen to music to my heart's content. I can go on for a while. They have a 32-hour battery life, and their ergonomic design has them fit comfortably in my ears. Their active noise cancellation makes it just me and the music. Loud noises? Can't hear them. Unless I put on awareness mode, but not in the house. Maybe at the gym. The everyday earbuds are versatile and reliable. Plus, they're weatherproof and sweat resistant. I sweat way too much, so that's a definite plus for me. Best of all, Raycon start at about half the price of other major competitors. Plus, they offer a 30-day happiness guarantee. So if you're not satisfied, you can get a full refund, no questions asked. They make a great gift for people in your life too, so what are you waiting for? Just go to buyraycon.com/utree to get 20% off these beauties. With the everyday earbuds, things tend to get a lot more enjoyable. Perhaps wearing them will do the same for this video. This is Isaiah Wilson. All 6'7", 350 pounds of him. Physical specimen. The kind of God-given ability that coaches dream of. Diligently honing his craft as a tackle at Poly Prep in Brooklyn. Coming out as a 5-star prospect wooed by many elite college programs. In the end, he'd choose Georgia to advance his career. As a Bulldog, he'd thrive on their O-line. He mauled his opposition in the run game. A bulldozer at right tackle that showcased solid potential in the NFL, flanking Andrew Thomas on the opposite side. The issue was his limited experience. His first year was a redshirt. Isaiah had only started 10 games in his sophomore year. He chose to skip the Sugar Bowl and declare for the 2020 NFL Draft, despite only being a 2-year starter. This was a touch before NIL was a thing, so the money was in the pros, which might have motivated his decision. That and having a high draft grade. Wilson's combine wasn't anything amazing to write home about. Consensus was that he was a very raw talent that would have probably benefited from another year in school. Even then, he was projected to be a second rounder by most draft sheets, and there was a chance to boost that higher. Then a certain something happened in March of 2020 that threw the whole draft scouting process into flux. Prodding and probing of pre-draft workouts replaced by remote interviews and social distancing. Georgia's Pro Day was supposed to be March 18th. It was obvious that wasn't happening. Most of them weren't, which resulted in the sheer fuckery that was the 2020 NFL Draft. We all gained about 30 pounds and sat around as Roger Goodell announced picks from his basement. A needed escape from the horrors of having to see our significant others for a few hours. In the Nashville living room, the Titans had a huge hole to fill at right tackle. Jack Conklin was offered more than the 30 pieces of silver Tennessee was offering. He was moving to Cleveland to become a Brown. Considering a huge part of their game was the rumbling of Derrick Henry, elite run blocking was a necessity. They were only one game away from making it to the Super Bowl. They shucked the #1 seed in their own house to assert themselves as a contender. The only issue was that there were 4 elite tackles in this draft. All of them were snagged up within the first 13 selections. Austin Jackson got taken with pick 18. The trade-up was off the table, yet they didn't want to trade down and lose that 5th-year option. So what did Tennessee do with the 29th selection? They reached for need.
With the 29th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Isaiah Wilson, tackle, Georgia.
Isaiah Wilson was a first-round pick. Even for the work that would need to be done, his upside was immense. A boom or bust project. Who cares if Mel Kiper's perplexed by the move? If he pans out, we laugh at him like usual. Besides, Kiper had the Titans taking Yeturgos Matos with their first. That one wouldn't have worked out too well for them. So with this being said, there were no visible signs or red flags that character was a major issue. Unless you consider liking SpongeBob as one. He had a stable upbringing, he went to an elite private school. His interviews show a man who's poised, motivated, and eager to prove himself. Maybe a grumble here or there during the combine process, but with Corona Chan wreaking havoc, it was impossible to get a true gauge of a man's character. Yet the transition from college to the pros is tough. As a student athlete, it's completely regimented. Total structure, next to no free time. Forced focus on football, and the head coach's word was law. When you're a pro, there's more freedom. Suddenly, you're forced to be your own man. And there are plenty of athletes that have trouble with avoiding its pitfalls. Isaiah, however, took that to a whole new level. Especially considering it was fucked up COVID year, tolerance for insubordination would be zero. Dwayne Haskins had a high-profile flameout in 2020. Wilson made him look like a paragon of maturity. The first issue wasn't anything abnormal. He held out of camp for a contract and was placed on the COVID list. It happens, to be fair, but here's the issue. Without a minicamp, rookies would be starting from behind. Wilson was supposed to be competing with Dennis Kelly for the starting right tackle spot. Fortunately, that holdout would be short-lived as he signed for a little under $6 million guaranteed. Time to celebrate. Even during the height of COVID-era training camp, Wilson tricked at Tennessee State University and partied down. If only someone didn't smell weed outside the apartment. Police were summoned and the party was busted. Showing wise decision-making, Isaiah had considered jumping off a second-floor balcony to escape. He chose not to and just got a trespass warning. The team dealt with things internally. Internally didn't mean getting put on the COVID list again in early September. The regular season hadn't started yet. Almost like doing donuts at a traffic intersection and crashing into a concrete wall. Which also happened. Days later, arrested for DUI with a blood alcohol level of 0.11. As a 350-pound man. That's a lot of booze. It was over a month before he'd be cleared from COVID protocols and finally be able to practice with the team. It'd take him a bit to get up to speed. Over 6 weeks. For a first-round pick? How much development did this guy need? It took until late November before he dressed in his first NFL game against the Ravens. A thrilling overtime affair that catapulted the Titans to a 7-3 record. Isaiah was one of 2 active players for them that didn't record a snap. His debut would have to wait until next week against the Colts. And he would truly shine. Do you know how many snaps he got against Indy? 4. And 3 of those were in victory formation. The one real play he got on special teams, he got fucking pancaked. Plopped on his ass with minimal effort needed. So it wasn't looking good, but some players need time to develop. This also apparently means mental. He was suspended by the team for a week due to an unnamed violation of team rules. And at that point, the Titans had enough of his shit and told him to go home and think about what he did. Placed on the reserve non-football illness list. His rookie season was over with 4 snaps to his credit. They said he had some personal issues to work on. Work? You mean partying on a yacht flexing with $1 bills? Neither Vrabel nor Robinson had any contact with Wilson for months, and they actively called him out in February for not giving a shit. Yet Isaiah had enough of the football life in response. He took to Twitter and said he was done. Finito. No more playing in Tennessee for him. Instead, it would be revealed that he was in a police chase with speed stopping 140 miles per hour back in January. He eventually crashed into a briar patch 100 yards off the road and was held at gunpoint by an undercover ICE agent. Scared or not, he's lucky to just be arrested. His recklessness could have killed him and his girl. You know how hard it is for a team to give up on a first-round pick this quickly? After all the chaos, Tennessee threw their hands in the air and chucked him off to Miami. 10 months after being drafted, John Robinson had to pay the cancer tax. Around the same time of the deal, Isaiah would post himself drinking lean. It probably lasted longer than his time as a Dolphin. He appeared hours late to his physical, was noticeably late to his orientation, and no-showed several practices he said he'd go to. They cut his ass in 3 days. The dude had more arrests his rookie season than games played. Speedrunning the destruction of his career faster than the original Super Mario Brothers. But don't worry about him. Like many an athlete with ambitions beyond the gridiron, Isaiah launched a rap career. Rising from the underground as G.G. Bowser, dancing on top of cars and spitting hot bars with his new LP. That was taken down in a day. Seriously, there's next to no trace of any of the songs he made besides a few samples. For good reason.
Bitch, I came to the party sipping all the wine. And I came through, you know, I had that on my job. Then I let my party in the club with a glide. They see me and they start to fly. Yeah, then I sipping on my lean, bitch.
I'd say don't quit your day job, but I'm pretty sure that ship has already sailed.
Yet even after all of this, Wilson would get another chance. He was signed to the Giants practice squad that September due to attrition. It went about as well as you'd expect. He showed up highly out of shape, fell asleep during team meetings, and the O-line coach all but came out and said he was immature and he sucked. Even being around Andrew Thomas and other former Bulldogs couldn't help him. Joe Judge had considered playing Isaiah in Week 17 against the Bears, but yelling at the media was enough embarrassment for him. He was dressed but didn't step onto the field, even during a massive blowout. The G-men were dealing with wave after wave of injury on the offensive line, and Wilson was still told to go away 2 days after his glorious Giants debut. He wasn't good enough for the guys that ran a draw play on a 3rd and 9. Enough said. That would be the end of Isaiah's football career, if you could call it that. Nobody was calling his phone offering up a helmet and jersey. Not even the upstart USFL. Dude got trolled so hard he privated everything on his social media to this very day. Most motivation he had as a pro athlete right there. And then the NFL suspended him for 3 games for undisclosed reasons. In 2023, the dude's already long out of football. There's no reason to rub salt in the wound. It's not like drafting Wilson affected John Robinson that badly. His next first-round pick worked out absolutely swimmingly. Having to draft the replacement of the guy that was supposed to be the replacement a year later is further proof of it. Dylan Radins has managed to play games. Tremendous success. These moves were major reasons why Robinson was fired in the middle of a Tennessee death spiral they haven't recovered from. Titans fans can only snicker at what could have been done with that selection. 4 spots later, the Bengals drafted T. Higgins. Considering what ended up happening to Tennessee at wideout, I'd say that he would have been useful to their Super Bowl aspirations. Just throwing it out there. How many other players would have been better just for being able to show up and put forth effort? That's why I call Isaiah Wilson the worst draft pick of all time. Just a sheer waste of talent that barely played due to his own doing. And as a first-round pick being given every opportunity in the world, that's especially damning. Honestly, he's not even worthy of being labeled as a bust. To call him that is insulting to anyone else ever declared the term. At least those players tried. Even the ones that had character issues managed to see the field for significantly longer periods of time. 2020 was a year full of draft flops, yet Wilson's the one that trumped them all in failure. The dude pissed away years of training and millions of dollars for what? A glorified monetary pump and dump and terrible rapping? Well, I hope you enjoy that money while you still have it, G.G. Bowser.
Remember, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. You could have all the talent in the world, but if you don't do the right thing, then nothing happens. But when you do right, guess what? Good things happen. You hear me?